All right. Hang on, says we're live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the MMA Advocates. This is episode 11. We've gone through 11 of these motherfuckers. Each a little over an hour, let's say. So let's say 11 hours and change. So if you watch every single one, I apologize, and I'm thankful at the exact same time. So again, welcome to another show here. We had Jesse, but I think he got jacked in the book.
Jesus has left the fucking building, Jack.
Maybe he'll come back. You know the best part of him getting dropped off is the notification that Jesus has left the call or some shit like that. It's the best part of that shit.
It's clever.
Yeah, so it's good. Anyway, as you see, we got Mr. Fred Kirby out of Dayton, Ohio, and of course David Rodriguez, ESPN Radio, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Fred sporting the cornrows, man. I mean,
yeah.
Look,
they're starting to come out a little bit. They're like 4 days old now, but
yeah, they're starting to come out. You got to redo those every. I mean, if you're gonna keep them that long, you got to redo them every week, right?
Yeah, something like that. If I wore like a do-rag and did a bunch of bullshit, they would stay in longer, but I'm lazy as fuck, so
that's just going to come out in a couple more days?
Yeah, I'll take them out tomorrow.
There you go. All right. Well, we had cards this last week, and of course, UFC Hidalgo. Pretty crazy, honestly. I mean, the main event, the co-main event, did not at all go like I thought they would. Like I thought they would. A lot of people obviously were right on that shit, on the ball with the results. But let's go. Let's talk right about the. Well, actually, the weird thing, the first fight was a draw. Did you guys see that fight? The Albert Morales and Hunter Perez fight?
No, I didn't catch the early prelims, no. Good.
Cut them both. I'm done. Then, like the other, I mean, Gabriel Benitez getting the guillotine choke on Sam Cecilia. Yeah. Did not expect that at all. Did not at all expect that shit. That was legit as fuck. Because that dude, Sam Cecilia, was like, he had the crowd. I mean, not the crowd, but he had like a huge support for this entire camp. For that fight, everyone thought it was gonna be an easy fight for him, and Benitez just pulled the rug out from under him, fucking guillotined his ass, finished that fight. Then Jack Skelly pulling a Maximo Blanco on Maximo Blanco. I mean, that was fucking legit, right? I mean, Fred, what'd you think of that fight, man?
Yeah, that was fun, right? What did it last? Fucking like 16 and a half seconds. Comes down,
it lasted
like a
nothing.
Flying drop kick, and then lands like what, an anaconda or a darce or some shit.
Dude, it was fast. It was crazy. It was fucking nuts, dude. I only had to catch replay.
That's how Maximo Blanco does, though, right? He either fucking wins extravagantly or loses extravagantly. I love that dude for that. So, he was just on the shit end of it this time. It is what it is.
Yeah,
it was great, though.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the few guys that's like those kill or be killed guys, right? Like he's going in there, balls out, or he's going to get killed, balls out. He's one of those. But, yeah.
He's fun, though. He's fun.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have a guy like that fucking, lives by the sword and dies by the sword than somebody that goes in there and tries to pussyfoot around, man. Fuck it. Even though you're going to lose sometimes, at least we're all excited to watch you fight, and that's the fucking point.
Would you watch Maximo Blanco against pretty much anybody or Fitch for Shields?
Maximo Blanco versus anybody. Seriously, that's a good point, though, dog. That's what I mean. I would rather watch old Kimbo fights, God rest his fucking soul, than John Fitch versus motherfucking whoever, whatever the fuck, in any goddamn body. Fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad that when you come off a win, you still get cut by the UFC because you're born. I mean, that's pretty fucking bad. But Dave, what do you think of Maximo Blanco, dude? I mean, I thought he was gonna win this fight. Chad Skelly said, "No, fuck this up, fuck this fucking world up in the first round."
Yeah, man, that was impressive. You know what I mean? Just coming out the gates like that, I think Fabricio Verdum sort of set a trend here. Now we're going to see a lot of guys just, coming out like a bull, fucking out the gates. So that's cool though that Cali got that nice sub. He needed a good win. I think he got. I think Darren Alkins beat him before his win on Saturday. So yeah, he's still right there. I think he can potentially move up. He's got some upside. But yeah, it was a night of I guess you add that to unlikely finishes of the night because hey, it was impressive, but you add the Gabriel Benitez finish, so a lot of unlikely finishes at that happened on that card. So, but yeah, that was a real interesting fight. Missed the early prelims, but yeah, definitely caught the Benitez on up to the main event. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Jesse, man, co-main event. Uriah Hall against Derek Brunson. Now, people thought it was going to be fire, right? Someone was going to get knocked the fuck out. I thought Uriah Hall was going to come out and do some crazy shit. Turns out Derek Brunson was like, nope, knocking your bitch ass out. Hurt him real bad, finished the fight. Now, a lot of people, Jesse, were saying that it was kind of an early stoppage. What do you think?
Yeah, at first I didn't think it was an early stoppage, but then upon reviewing the video, it definitely seemed like it was a little bit premature. the way he dropped is probably why the referee was right on top of him trying to stop the fight. Because he dropped like he got killed. Like literally, like his lights went out and everything. But he covered up well, and he pulled the Uriah Faber defense of like just covering up and trying to weather the storm. And I think that's where he got screwed up. You know, he didn't really move. He didn't really react to anything, even though none. If you go back and look, none of the punches were landing. I think only one of them actually got through, and it was the last one, I believe. But I think that fight could have gone on a little bit longer. The thing that kind of made it weird for me at the end, though, was that Uriah Hall went after the leg of the referee. I think it was Herb Dean, right? Herb Dean was the referee.
I think so.
And as a fighter, I believe you would know the difference between a person that's wearing, you know, pants and one that's not wearing pants and is in there fighting with you. So that kind of solidified for me that he was definitely wobbled and kind of out of it, but I think that he still had enough to kind of maybe survive a little bit. Like I said, none of those punches were really landing at all. They were all being blocked by his arms, his shoulders. So I think it was a little bit of a premature stoppage. I think Herb Dean, I think, just saw when the way he dropped, probably that's what, you know, he basically made up his mind that if he's not moving by the time I get there, I'm going to have to stop this fight. And I think that's what happened there.
Yeah, shout out to Mike Jarvis on the YouTube saying he single-legged the ref. Yeah, he did.
Listen. Was it maybe a cunt hair premature?
Probably.
Sure.
No.
Maybe. Did it fucking matter any? Nope. It was the fucking beginning of the fight.
Yeah.
Could they have let it go on a couple more seconds? Sure. If you had to bet your cock on it, Jesus, what you think happens in the next 15 seconds of that fight if they keep letting Derek Brunson rain down punches on him?
You're saying the next 15 seconds?
Man, 15, 20, 32. If they don't stop it, do you think Uriah Hall gets his ass off the fucking canvas?
I think it all depends. I mean, look at what was happening in that exchange. One punch got through. So I mean,
yeah, the
I don't know,
last
man.
one. And
I don't know, man.
listen, he was curtains. He was curtains. Those gas fumes are getting to you, Jesus.
I'm just saying, like, you just never know. I mean, everybody says, well, who was it? Frank Shamrock? He was winning up until he lost the fighter or something, he said one time. You know, I think every fighter would probably in his head say, yeah, you could have let it go and I would have won that fight, even though they were probably knocked out. But I think he actually wasn't knocked out. I think they could have let it go a little bit before they should have stopped that fight. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you, Fred. I mean, whether it was then that they stopped it or stopped it later, it's quite possible that, I mean, he would have absorbed a lot more punches and probably been hurt even worse. But I mean, you always got to give a guy at least an opportunity to fight his way out of stuff, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's better that the referees, you know, stop fights too early than too late, and we get a Joe Warren up against the cage getting his brain bashed in.
Yeah, that's the thing with MMA fans. We're a bunch of fucking crybaby pussies at the end of the day. God forbid you stop it a little early, then everybody, oh, you got to give them a chance to fight back. God forbid you stop it late. Oh, the refs are always letting people get their brains beat out. Somebody's going to get brain trauma.
Everyone's an expert.
A bunch of fucking sissies.
Everyone's a fucking
Listen,
armchair expert, man. Any sport.
If you get fucking creamed and you hit the fucking deck and you start fucking taking blows that are unanswered and you fucking grab the ref afterwards, you're done, son. The fight's a wrap.
Yeah, dude. From when I saw him, man, a few more seconds, that shit was gonna be over anyway. Brunson was on it, just on him like fucking monster donkey fucking punches and shit. So it was like crazy. Dave, what'd you think, man?
Yeah, just great points there. Because it's something where, you know, Herb Dean he's gonna be criticized if he stops the fight early, if he stops the fight late. So the guy's reffing a fight probably right now as we speak. You know, I mean, he's constantly reffing MMA fights. So I think the thing to talk about is when Brunson, I think he did an interview recently where he mentioned that, you know, just in the heat of the fight, in the battle, I mean, he has the best angle of the fight. He's right there in his face. He said Uriah was out on his feet. He sort of, when he hit the cage and when he hit the deck, it kind of woke him up, in which Herb Dean did give him, you know, a little bit of time to fight back, in which he wasn't fighting back. He ended up single-legging Herb Dean, like Jarvis was saying. So it's something where, Herb Dean's just going to be criticized either way, but he does a fantastic job in there. I think Uriah was out on his feet, and like Brenton said, I mean, and it's one of those things too where like I know they implemented them before. I don't know if they'll ever bring them back again, but if the referees ever are forced, or they're ever going to wear like the ref cam, or you get those crazy angles from the referee, I'm sure you probably would have seen a lot better angles and seen that Uriah was clearly out. But yeah, I think I've seen the fight a couple times back, and definitely Uriah was definitely out. And Brunson's a beast, and I think he just got booked against Robert Whittaker down in Australia as well.
Yep, UFC Fight Night 101. And that's a good fight. That's another fucking sick fight. Yeah, two heavy fucking throwers. All right, main event time. I did not see it coming at all. But Johnson just catches Poirier real nasty, ends his night early. All the shit that was happening throughout the whole, the whole, the blow up, whatever, to the fight, and ended up being fucking pretty quick fight, right? Overall, Dustin Poirier. I mean, look, I had Dustin Poirier winning by knockout. Fred, who'd you have before that, and what'd you think of the fight?
Yeah, I thought Dustin Poirier would win. I thought he would. I just thought he would like absorb the fucking early storm. Look, he didn't. The fucking early storm snuffed his ass right on out, Jack. Listen, Dustin Poirier is a great fighter. He's durable as fuck, and he's very well-rounded. But the cute cocksucker's got a propensity to get fucking punched in the face. When you're fighting a cat like Michael Johnson, who's fucking being trained by the goddamn God, Henry Hoof, he's going to teach you how to fucking strike, man. And if Mike just listens, he's got the right coaching with the Black Zillions. Dude's a fucking hell of a fucking kickboxing coach. So that first round, dude's going to be explosive. It isn't, what I'm saying? I picked Dustin Poirier, but in hindsight, this kind of makes perfect sense. Michael Johnson is an explosive striker, especially in that first round. If you can wear him down a little bit like Nate Diaz did and get in his head, and listen, Nate Diaz also is fucking superhuman, man. He can the kid's tough as a mule. You can't really knock him out, but fucking most people can't take those shots. And Dustin Poirier's got poor striking defense, man. And fucking MJ just lit his ass on fire, man. He was fucking out cold. He even landed the hook. What was it? A straight, and then a hook afterwards?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He landed both of them, dog. Like the straight knocked him out, but then he landed the hook on the way down. I mean, it was
just in case.
Yeah, I mean, and his hands were just moving so quick. It was like, pop. He fucking killed Dustin Poirier. And then he went fucking crazy on the mic afterwards and was talking shit afterwards. But you know what? I love it. They were both talking shit before the fight. When you are the one that comes out with that knockout win, it's easy to be like, aha, motherfucker. That's what you get. You didn't kick my fucking ass, chump.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and Dave, like, there was a lot of people talking about, fucking, who was it? Actually, no, I listened to a Rogan's, the Fight Companion, and he was talking about, what the fuck's all this? Everything's going WWE. Everyone's going WWE. You kind of got to, right? You got to sell your fucking fight. You got to sell yourself. So I can't hate on Johnson for doing it either. As much as I wish I could be like, fuck that shit. I'm sick of that. That's the game. These guys want to get paid. People got to want to watch them. And one way to do it, do some good shit talking. What do you think of Johnson in the post-fight interview?
Yeah, and then a lot of people, adding to that, directly right after he KO'd Dustin, he walked over there and just said, fuck you, and his corner, and came around and said, don't be saying that shit. But yeah, I think it's just Michael being an authentic guy. I mean, he had a pretty tough road leading up to this fight. I mean, he talked about, pretty much his back against the wall. He was moving. He had a lot of shit kind of going wrong for him. But in the meantime, he did keep up a pretty strong camp. Like Fred mentioned, he's got great training partners, great camp there. They had him prepared for this one. You could definitely hear the leather fly on Saturday. So I think the fight, it went exactly as I thought it would. I mean, he totally fucked me on my picks. I was actually at a perfect slate of picks leading up to the main event. And Michael Johnson, I guess, yeah, he's a durable guy. I thought the fight would be a straight fire fight. And Johnson proved to be the more durable guy. Of course he is. But the more tougher guy, as we all know, get rocked a little bit in just about every fight that he's been in. But he's still a tough customer. It's a fortunate setback for him. Dustin, they had a lot of high hopes for him, showcasing him on this main event. But Michael Johnson, on the other hand, pretty much, was looking Bellator in his rearview mirror, going into this fight. So he showed up. Yeah, he showed up big time. So Dustin just that way. I mean, yeah, I didn't see it going that route, but I knew the fight would be very competitive on the feet, in which, I was second guessing that Dustin Poirier pick, in which Johnson has proven to be the more durable, tougher guy, chin-wise, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Jesse, with this whole Dustin Poirier, first of all, Dustin Poirier was on a run, right? This clearly stops it. Now, in your opinion, how far back does he get? And how far back does he get pushed in that title picture? And as far as Johnson goes, what would you do next for him?
Man, was I the only one that thought that Johnson was gonna outright win this fight? Because I had seen a lot of Poirier's fights, and like Dave just alluded to, he tends to get hit a lot, and I gotta agree with Fred. His striking defense is just not good, not up to par, to where he likes to play that game where he likes to put his chin out there and he likes to strike with people, and he's kind of lazy with his defense. He's not really putting his fist back to his chin and everything, and he's just not doing the proper technique to defend against some of those things. But Eddie, if you can remember, was it the Joe Rogan podcast where they were talking about Nate Diaz's two-punch combo, how basically they basically land at the same time, which is why it's so hard for a lot of people to
counter.
Yeah, to counter that, because he throws it so fast that both of them are basically hitting you at the same time, which is kind of what you saw from Johnson there. He almost, maybe by like a split second before the other punch hit him.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing that Johnson's striking is just coming up to a whole different level now. We saw in his last fight was the Diaz fight, correct? So I mean, it's like he just needs, he kind of has that Uriah Hall thing where he can be like a beast 1 fight, 2 fights, 3 fights, and then he comes in where he's just not feeling the fight, or he's just not there, or something's up, and he'll just perform poorly. But I really thought that he was going to shine in this fight, and he really did. I mean, what he did to Poirier is not easy. I mean, there's only a few people that have shut those lights off. One of them being Conor McGregor over there. But in the term of Poirier in the division, I think he doesn't fall too far. I think a 4-fight win streak that he was on. Really, I think it'll carry him over pretty low. I think it'll keep him in the top 10 probably. Yeah. I think he's still a tough guy that you basically put anybody against him, and most people are gonna be like, oh man, I pulled Poirier, and especially after this loss, I mean, that he's gonna be emotional and ready to get that back. So anybody that picks him up after this is just gonna be in for a battle. But Johnson, I also think he doesn't crack the top 5, but I think he stays in that 6 to 9 maybe. Maybe not slot 10, but I don't think he's top 5 yet. I think he still needs to prove a lot to be more consistent and be able to perform that way in every single fight, and then maybe we'll see him develop into a contender. But I still think he's got maybe like 2 more fights to go before we put him up against a Khabib or Dos Anjos or even Alvarez. I still think we need to see a little bit more from him.
Yeah, and we will. Look, he's going to get a fight that maybe not a gimme fight, but he's going to get a fight that he can win, because they want Dustin Poirier to be a name, to be a guy you can throw in as a contender, because people will watch a Dustin Poirier, they'll watch a Michael Johnson, stuff like guys like that. All right, moving on to the next topic we have here. Ali Quinta was supposed to be at UFC 205. In fact, him and Guillaume Billante, who I think they're on the same team, if I'm not mistaken, on the Ray Longo fight team. But Billante's out with an injury of some sort. I'm not really sure what it was, but that's what I read. And Ali Quinta's out because he has some kind of dispute with the UFC now. Dave, this whole thing's kind of weird. If you can explain it like as simply as you can. From what I understand, Ali Quinta's upset about the way he's treated, the fact that he's not getting paid what he wants, and the fact that he supposedly can't earn a fight bonus for 3 fights in a row. Now, I'm not sure when that started, but that's $150,000 that he could have gotten that he didn't, and that's a little fucked up. So what do you think? What is this whole situation about?
Yeah, it's a pretty ballsy move by Ali Quinta, but I praise him for it, because actually there's been a lot of fighters, speaking out about, just, mentioning how they're underpaid, whatever the situation is, they're in a bad relationship with the UFC, they're mistreated. But this Ali Quinta thing, I mean, the guy basically is from New York. he's not going to be able to fight in New York on a big card at UFC 205 because it's basically not, they just doesn't add up. It's basically he's fighting for free. So it's crazy that the guy figured it out. The UFC wasn't willing to budge or negotiate anything to benefit him, in his home state, in his hometown. So that's unfortunate there because, I was kind of looking forward to seeing, some New York guys on the card. We still don't know if Chris Weidman's going to be on the card, but man, when Al gets into detail about this, I mean, like you said, Eddie, you mentioned that they prevented him from earning a bonus. So I think it stemmed from him either pulling out of a fight or he didn't show up to like a media presser. Yeah, there's something where
they said it was a couple of things. They said it was because he didn't show up to the fight summit, then because he cussed on Fox, and then also because he trashed the hotel after that fight where he cussed.
Okay,
so they had to foot the bill, I guess. So.
Yeah, a couple factors like you guys mentioned. Yeah, I did hear about that, and I think just what happened with him. I mean, he had a few good wins under his belt. He thought he was going to make some money. He thought he was going to be in a big fight. He had the unfortunate knee injuries that set him back as well. He talks about that he attended college. He's actually a realtor now, so he's actually gone into different endeavors, and he's planning on continuing that. I mean, he was talking about a real interesting point that he made is I guess he got pulled over in New York City and got a ticket for being on his cell phone. And I guess there was like a hardcore fan that happened to be a construction worker or somebody like right there, and they noticed him. And I guess he drives a 2005 Altima. And he was talking that the guy that was there telling him, he's like, "Hey man, Quinta, what's up, man? You need to be rolling hard. You're bad. You need to be rolling hard. Like, what the hell are you doing in a 05 Altima?" So I mean, that's why. I mean, if you got a guy like Al Quinta coming out, I mean, yeah, he's a name for the hardcore. We know who he is. But when it comes down to the circumstance here, where the UFC wasn't willing to budge, and I heard that, like he said, Joe Silva told him, "Oh fuck you, I'll cut you. I'm not paying you a bonus." I mean, it just keeps piling on and on. I mean, I guess like Jesse was saying, he did some stupid shit, and they're trying to just hold it against him. But hey, man, I'm one for a guy that get paid what he's worth. I mean, Al Quinta in New York, man. I mean, you're telling me you can't get this guy on the card in New York, the debut of the UFC there. I mean, that's kind of crazy, man, because it's like, I mean, the guy would rather go and sell houses than do what he loves and which he dedicated most of his life to being a mixed martial artist. So that's unfortunate. But shit, man, I mean, who knows? Al's pretty much left the door open to either they contact him or it is what it is at this point. So very interesting to see what plays out with Quinta.
Here's the thing too, though, like because Quinta went on and he was basically making it sound like it was because he didn't go to a fight or something. And like a couple days later, he took a picture at the beach. And then they called him and said, "Oh, well, you're clearly not sick. You can't win a bonus for 3 fights." He said nothing about a trash hotel and a bunch of other things, right? I like Quinta's kind of a douche. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? He comes off just like that, and he clearly acts like one. If you're gonna trash a hotel, you're gonna trash a hotel. Come the fuck on, right? Now, Fred, what do you think about all this shit?
Oh man, there's a lot to unpack here, man. Listen, I feel bad for Al Quinta, kind of. You know what I'm saying? The homie stopping him and saying he's got a shitty car and shit. Oh, shit. Am I?
You good? No, now you're muted. Go back.
Okay. There we go. Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, I feel bad for him, man. But on the same fucking token, I kind of catch the UFC's point a little bit. Listen, if everybody comes, I don't blame him for coming to the table and being like, "Hey, fuck that. I feel like I'm worth more. This shit ain't really worth it to me. I know I get to fight in New York, but fuck that." Mm-hmm. That's his opinion, and it certainly is his right. And other people have done shit like that, and it's kind of worked. They've been able to negotiate for something a little more.
Of course.
At the end of the day, Al Quinta just ain't worth it. Joe Silva probably didn't have to be such a little dick. He didn't have to say, "Go fuck yourself, shitbird. You ain't getting nothing." Yeah. He probably could have been a bit sweeter with it. But at the end of the day, everybody isn't going to get more money and shit. I don't blame Al Quinta at all, but it's strictly business, man. They don't feel like he's worth any more money. And quite frankly, guess what? They're going to have that show at Madison Square Garden with or without Al Quinta. And quite frankly, it'll be a success without even Weidman. It's the UFC. Possibly, it's the first show. Yeah, I mean, listen, it could be a bigger success with Weidman. It could be Al Quinta would be a great addition to the card, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, the UFC don't need that cat, man. They're going to run the show regardless. I don't blame Al Quinta. I mean, listen, the man's trying to do his thing. He's trying to hustle and get some more money. And if he feels like the don't make dollars, it don't make sense. I feel him. You know what I'm saying? He's the one risking his well-being. But, like, I don't know. If the UFC don't feel like he's worth what he's asking for, if they feel like they're giving him the amount of asses of, you know what I'm saying, that he puts in seats, it fucking kind of is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. True.
It's interesting, but, like, it is what it is. Fuck.
Yeah, look, and again, I feel bad for Quinta because he's not the only one in that situation, right? A lot of these fighters are in the same situation. They're kind of at the mercy of what the UFC thinks. And Joe Silva, which, again, adding to that, Joe Silva leaving, it just, you know, we got a new guy. We got Sean Shelby has been promoted. We got, what's his name, Mick Maynard, I think Mick Maynard is basically VP of that whole thing. Now, let's start here with Jesse. What do you think? Oh, go ahead, Fred.
Okay, sorry, just quickly. One last point, man. Listen, I guess the problem with this is it also kind of sets a precedent, right?
Right.
If Al Iaquinta stands up and goes, hey, I'm not fucking getting paid enough. I'm not fucking fighting in New York unless you give me another 40 G's. And fucking Joe Silva and the powers of be go, okay, true enough. You make a good point. Here's your money. Word gets around, and every fucking cock smoker from Sage Northcutt to goddamn it Mickey Gall's going, you know, to be honest with you. That's not how you run a fucking business, man. Next thing you know, everybody wants to make more money, right? Nobody's making enough money at the end of the day. So what the fuck, man?
Right, and it is precedent. It's definitely set a precedent, and the UFC has to squash it now. Like the only way, you know, that I think that this would ever go well, and Jesse, you can add to this if you want. That the only way I think it helps Quinta is if a big name comes out and says it. You know what I mean? Basically, like a Conor McGregor goes, yeah, this is fucked up. However, as the point that we made over and over and over again, usually Fred says it, those guys up at the top don't give a fuck about little guy. They don't give a shit. Yeah. John Jones is going to go out of his way to help Al Iaquinta. Fucking Conor McGregor won't do it either. You know what I mean?
Well, Cerrone, what did he say? He said that pretty much he felt that he was underpaid, and what happened with him, he came through with the win, and it's Cowboy, and they negotiated with Cowboy, but yeah, he fucking earned it 100%. That's my point right there.
And look at Gilbert Melendez, right? Melendez was like, yo, I'm going to walk. And they were like, check this out. You're the new coach on fucking the new tough season. Sorry, Al. You ain't that dude, bruh. They don't give a fuck if you sell houses in Jersey.
And at the same time, stop trashing hotel rooms, man. But Jesse, what do you think about this whole thing?
Boo-hoo.
I knew it was coming.
Boo-hoo. Honestly, man, I mean, do you know how many low-level legacy, you know, combates, like just all kinds of different organizations? Do you know how many guys would love, if they're from New York, would love to be on that New York card?
All of them.
They wouldn't care how much they're getting paid.
Yep.
You know, if that's their home state and they can fight on the big show in front of their hometown and probably get a favorable matchup, I mean, come on. I mean, it's so ridiculous for Al. Like you were saying, I mean, all the little, yeah, of course, he poses a story that's favorable to him. Oh, well, I didn't show up to Fighter Summit because I was sick. But then I posted a picture a couple days later of me hanging on the beach, and then I don't have any more fight bonuses. Oh yeah, what about that? You know, you didn't you trashed a hotel room. Actually, I think he's pretty well known for trashing more than one hotel room. You know, and just going off on the crowd the way he did when he got booed. You know, those things are not the things that you want as a promoter. You know, you don't want a guy that's, you know, gonna pick a fight with the crowd and probably even try to get in there and beat the hell out of some kids. You know, and in my opinion, I mean, if he wanted to be on that card, he would be on that card. But given the fact that you know, one of his biggest complaints was the fact that I guess he was saying that one of his last fight was before the Reebok era started. Mm-hmm. So now that Reebok is in play and they try to activate the Reebok stuff with him, he was like, well, it's not worth it to me. Well, too bad. It's not fair to anybody else either, but what makes you any different? You know, Reebok comes correct to Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, like the big stars, but they're not going to come and give him like a contract or anything or give him any more money. You know, he's not that guy. Like Fred was saying, he's not that guy. He's not popular enough. He's not going to put, you know, if the UFC goes to New York and says, hey, it's Al Ally Aquina in the main event, how many fans are gonna be like, "Yay!" No, hell no. We're gonna be like, "What the hell?" And think about it this way: not even his homies, Ray Longo or what is it, Aljamain Sterling or Chris Weidman. None of those guys are sticking up for him either. So I think there's a lot more that he's not saying. That's probably the factors here. So I
Very
mean,
possible, yeah.
Like I would definitely, if I had screwed up with the company, and they were telling me, well, you're not going to get this, this, and this, I would definitely try to paint a favorable story to make me sympathetic to get people on my side. But I mean, if even my homies aren't on my side or they haven't said anything, I mean, that's pretty telling.
Yeah, I haven't heard shit from Weidman.
Yeah, just to factor it in, that just remember the platform that he chose to, speak out about this. So we always talk about, fighters using that platform. We know what I'm talking about. So
what platform did he use?
Well, the show that he was on.
The nose, man.
Yeah, so he pretty much, he wanted to,
I fuck with Helwani.
Let me guess. The host of that show was like, "Oh my God, that's so wrong. I hope we can get some help for you." Probably kissing his ass the whole time, I bet.
He was
anyway.
Look, Alaconte was balls deep in this dude's fucking mouth. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, regardless,
you guys think we see Iaquinta back in the UFC? Do you think he just takes a random fight on for a lot lesser money, more than likely, or do you see him in Bellator in 3 months?
Hell no, he'll be on Legacy or one of those fight promotions on Fight Pass.
He's still under contract with the UFC, right?
I think so. For at least one fight.
He ain't going nowhere. Listen, I see Al Iaquinta's point, but for my money, if I was Al Iaquinta's manager, do you know what I would tell Iaquinta to do? This is what I would tell him to do. He's going to have to take this fight at Madison Square Garden. He ain't got to take it, but he has the option to fight. I think it was Thiago Alves too, right?
Yep.
Maybe. Mm-hmm. It was a big name, dog. It was a big fight on a huge card, okay? Now, he said that the money that he was getting paid, he ain't going to really make no money after he pays his trainers, blase, blase. Fair enough. And fuck the UFC, right? He don't like how they do business. He don't like how Joe Silva's been talking to him. Fair enough. He's probably only got 1 to 3 fights, probably tops on his contract anyways, right?
Right.
What he should do, in my opinion, is take the fight in New York. Do it for free. But make it a showcase fight. Lay Thiago Alves the fuck out in front of a huge crowd, and then guess who's willing to pay you a lot of money to switch teams?
Yeah, and then you go off
Bellator.
Yep.
Bellator. And you have bargaining chips, you see. So you don't need to make money. What you need to do is drive up the interest in your fucking, your services. Bellator's out there spending the money now, dog. Look what they just did with Tell.
Oh, yeah, speaking of Bellator, yeah.
If you come out and starch, dude, and then you low-key let your manager know, like, look, I'm interested. I don't like the UFC no more. I ain't fucking with them. I'm trying to fight this contract out, and as soon as my fights are done, Joe Silva and Dana White can suck my dick. I'm leaving. And I'm about to leave on a couple knockout wins, too. So just have your boys watching me. I'm going to be at that big event in New York. I'm going to lay this motherfucker out, and then I'm going to talk shit to the powers that be because they got to give me the fights or they got to cut me, right?
Right.
One way or the other. Just like Al Iaquinta will have to fight out his contract. The UFC just can't hold him forever. They got to either cut him or you know what I'm saying? They got to give those guys fights in a lot of time.
Yep.
So he should use it as a showcase, man, to drive up interest in him. And then when he has the right, go to Bellator and make a fucking boatload and fight shitbirds.
Yeah, and look, Bellator is definitely picking up UFC castaways like a motherfucker right now. So,
but I think the other problem is I don't think he has 1 to 3 fights left because one or two fights they probably would have been like, okay, look, sit down, we'll rip up this contract, we'll make a new one, we'll make it nice. So my guess is he's got between like 3 to 5 maybe because he might have been one of those dumbasses that
who would have said that
signed to like a 6. What the UFC?
Well,
they try to get fighters re-signed up before they fight out their contract because they don't want people doing the Rory McDonald or the Gilbert Melendez of like fighting out their contract and then taking offers from other people. So they try to re-sign people up. Look, just recently, Joseph Benavidez. He had two fights left, and he signed a 6-fight contract.
Those cats, but not Al Iaquinta, man. I don't think they're fucking worried about re-signing him. Clearly, they don't give a fuck what he does.
I mean, Joseph was this close to cutting him just for the shit talk. You know what I mean? So.
That's what I'm saying. Just for him getting cute with his mouth, man, about cut his funny ass. I don't think they're worried about re-signing him.
Yeah, I think
like that.
I think Joe Silva, dude.
I don't think they really give a fuck what he does.
I think Joe Silva behind the scenes might be the baddest motherfucker in the UFC ever. Fuck a Dana White. Joe Silva's a scary son of a bitch. You know what I mean? This dude's like, oh, you don't.
Out of mind for a while too, man.
Yeah,
who's the last guy he beat?
I don't remember.
Who cares?
But Joe, exactly. No, but Joe Silva's probably in the back going, fuck your livelihood, fuck your livelihood, fuck your livelihood. You're cool, and fuck your livelihood. Out, motherfuckers. Like that's kind of what he does. But a couple of comments here on the YouTube. Going back to Poirier Johnson, Mania Mac saying rankings have already been updated. Poirier is now number 10, Johnson number 6. And then Mike drops a pretty good idea. Cowboy versus Johnson would be a good matchup. What do you think?
Cowboy's at 170.
Oh, he go back to 155. He doesn't give a fuck. Just pay him.
He already has a fight, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got, what's his name? Kelvin.
Kelvin.
Oh, that's right. He's got you, Eddie. What's up?
World beater.
This motherfucker, dude. Cut the shit. Anyway.
Get after it, Eddie.
This guy. All right. What was the other message here? Fucking hell, I lost it. Anyway. Here we go. Sorry. What up?
No, I was gonna say, what was it? Don that found me on Facebook.
What?
Over on our messenger.
What do you say?
Our chat. Remember the picture of the fighter? Was he a legacy fighter?
Oh, yeah, that looks just like you?
Yeah.
Okay, I will fucking find this picture and I will tweet it out because it looks just like Jesse.
Shout out to that guy.
Yeah, he looks spot fucking on like Jesse, like legit.
Even better, with the shirt off, we're probably about the same size.
He's kind of a big guy. All right, and then, Mania Mac comes up, says, still sucks that the only New York fighter currently confirmed on 205 is Rashad Evans. And then Mike Jones with another good point. Al had an entire year to complain, and he waits until the last minute. Also, the show that he did his little spiel on with the nose says that is not the place to talk about your issues with the UFC. Clearly, except for the fact that you can cry on there for 2 hours and get back in the decent graces.
By the way, he should be thankful because the UFC paid for his surgery and everything, and he's over here saying that. Yeah,
you got lucky they did that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he cried about it, and they were like, "Well, all right, fine." But then he comes back crying, "Oh, I drained my savings account, like just not working." Well, yeah, you had an injury. What do you want them to pay you for not fighting? Like, I don't know, man. Like I said, he's too much of a crybaby for me.
Yeah, and then real quick, UFC 205 confirmed fights: Donald Cerrone against Kelvin Gastelum, Frankie Edgar versus Jeremy Stevens, Rashad Evans versus Tim Kennedy, Tim Bush against Rafael Natal, and Caitlin Chukagian, the chick from South Dakota, whatever, against Liz Carmouche, right? So those are the confirmed fights. Moving on, I think Dave was actually trying to transition to this one, talking about Bellator. Good old Chael P. Sonnen is now a Bellator fighter. A lot of people were like, you know what weirded me out? People saying they were shocked. I mean, who was anyone here shocked? Because I wasn't. I was not the least bit shocked that he made that move. That was the move to make for Chael Sonnen. Why? Because he can go somewhere where he can destroy whoever he wants. And two, Bellator to have USADA. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. Chael Sonnen can come up with whatever fucking shit he wants to say about why he left the UFC and went to Bellator. That dude cannot pass the test. All right, I guarantee that before, if he had to piss in the cup before they actually tested that shit, the second they were about to test it, every system went off going for everything. Now, this fucker reeks of PEDs. It's kind of what it is. And he doesn't make any butts about it. I mean, he said it before. He's like, yeah, I was on everything. I'm cool with it. I was on everything. Yeah. Fuck it. And then he played the Nevada State Athletic Commission. He played him on top of it, which is awesome. So I can't hate Chael P. So Chael P to Bellator, Dave, he went off, just like you described it on the chat with the NWO style fucking speeches on that phone call. I didn't listen to it. I just read a couple quotes here and there. What do you think of Mr. Sonnen now in Bellator?
And totally just not surprised. I mean, we've seen him cutting promos. You've seen the Tito little thing that he did. It's definitely Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen has arrived to Bellator. Just about, I think it was earlier today, he claims, I got a higher juice concentrate than Tropicana, quote unquote.
This motherfucker.
Chael P. Sonnen. So if the man has arrived, who the fuck does he fight? I've heard the whispers out of Northern California about a November 19th date with Tito, but basically they could put him in there with whoever they feel like. He's going to talk a gang of shit. He's going to bring a lot of eyes to Bellator. He's probably going to go in there and get his ass beat, more than likely, too, because Chael doesn't go in there and win these fights. So, and honestly, the guy hasn't fought since like 2013, suspensions. I mean, when he went in there against Rashad Evans, Rashad pounded him out like he looked like he fucking didn't belong, you know, and that's Rashad Evans 3 years ago. So Chael going forward, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much you know, fans are gonna care, they're gonna watch no matter who the hell he fights, and then there's gonna be a large group of people that are just, they're not gonna give a shit too at the same time. So I just think that he'll have a fight booked soon enough. Bellator's got to have something up their sleeve, whether it's Tito, Rampage. Chael could probably fight at any weight. He's going to come in juiced to the gills. Like you said, Eddie, they still haven't actually, Chael still plans on coming out about the language of the separation with the UFC. So that's something to come still in the coming days, I guess. So it's real interesting to see, or it's going to be interesting what he has to say, because Chael, we know, is going to, you know, Chael's going to say a lot of shit for sure, but it's not a lot of separations with the UFC have gone well. This is Chael Sonnen we're talking about here. So I'm super interested to see what the backstory is to him leaving, you know, with all this stuff happening, the sale, Joe Silva, USADA, all that stuff. So there's still a lot to be said with the gangster from West Lynn. So it is what it is. Chael Sonnen has definitely arrived in Bellator, 100%.
Here's the thing about Chael Sonnen, though. Like, I understand Chael Sonnen and Conor McGregor should talk. Now, Conor's better, right? Conor's kind of quick-witted, like on the feet a little bit. He still scripts his shit quite a bit, but not as much as Sonnen. Sonnen has legitimate pro wrestling promos like nobody's business, right? But is anybody else's shit talk more cringeworthy than fucking Tito Ortiz? Would he come out and say something like, yeah, I'm ready to fight the bad girl? Like, really? That's a thing? That's still a thing, dude? Calling dudes chicks? That's still a thing. That's still gonna offend somebody. Fucking A, Tito. You would think with the size your fucking head has grown to, your brain would have matched at least a little bit with some fucking intelligence, you fuck. Fuck. Sorry, that bothers me. Tito annoys the hell out of me when he talks. If you would just shut up and fight, I'd be okay. Yeah, Jesse was triggered. God damn it, Tito, you son of a bitch. You triggered Jesse, you fuck. No, but for real, though, like Chael Sonnen, you know, Fred, I mean, Tito, Vanderlei, there's a couple guys you could throw in there with him.
Listen, man, I gotta be honest. This did kind of surprise me a little bit, man. Chael Sonnen's always kind of been a company guy with the UFC. I was slightly surprised when I heard this. Hindsight's always 20/20, and looking back on it now, it's like, of course, it's a match made in heaven. I mean, Chael Sonnen, Bellator, this shit's going to work out perfectly. I do say though, man, this is it does seem like there's a slight turning of the tide happening, man. Now with this Chael Sonnen signing. I wouldn't say the Chael Sonnen signing is the biggest one for Bellator, but coming on the heels of them getting Rory McDonald and Benson Henderson, it does kind of feel like there's starting to be something in the air, man. The UFC's sold. Joe Silva's leaving. A lot of different shit's happening, man. And I don't really think they need Chael Sonnen to fight like Chael Sonnen and fucking Tito Ortiz. Who gives a flying fuck about that fight, competitively speaking? Chael Sonnen ain't fought in a month of Sundays, is a fucking known cheater. God damn it, Tito Ortiz has got a broken back, a neck, and a skull. I mean,
why?
It's fucking ridiculous, kind of. But in some weird way, it makes perfect sense for Bellator's model.
Oh, yeah.
They'll put that fight at the top of the card. They'll put somebody like MVP on there. Listen, I think it's starting to work. Scott Coker and Bellator, it's going to take a while because the UFC still got 95% of the talent. But this is just another little slight thing. You know, I don't think that Chael Sonnen alone is going to do the trick. But overall, this is all starting to feel like Bellator is starting to get the hang of this shit, man. And with all the people leaving the UFC, the only person they really got there is Dana White. And that ain't the same jive, you know what I mean? It's not like Dana White and the Fertittas and Joe Silva. They were like the fucking A-team, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The golden years of the UFC and MMA seem like they're starting to come to an end. And like I've said this before time and time again, man, I know they say that competition, you know, breeds the best in people, and that Bellator being an actual thing will make the UFC put out a better product. But I hate these guys not getting the fight. man.
Right.
I hate the idea that we might start seeing a lot of guys kind of bounce over to Bellator, and then what? You know what I mean? Say Conor McGregor did go to Bellator, or John Jones or something on some crazy shit. Like, realistically, what do we got for them over there? Now we got Roy McDonald over there. He's got like 3 fights, you know? And then we're left with not much for him.
Pretty much.
So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens going forward with this shit, man. I mean, it makes sense in the long run, but I was kind of surprised. It'll be interesting to find out what happened. I do think the USADA thing and the drug testing thing had a lot to do with it, because I don't think that the UFC would want to let Chael go. He's a great promoter, if not anything, and surely they could bustle up somebody for him to fight to sell some tickets. So the fact that one got away probably does have a lot to do with drug testing. But either way, it's a big fucking cat in the feather for a big feather in the cap for Bellator, no matter what, man. I mean, even if that prick never fights, just him being there and talking about the fights and drumming up interest for the fights and being a company guy for Bellator now. I'll tell you what, I didn't love his fucking shit. I think he's old as fuck and cringeworthy at this point. Fucking the guy with the biggest arms that does the most charm and all this bullshit. He's literally said that line like
a million times.
So for me personally, he fucking grinds my gears at this point. But good fucking move, Bellator.
Just do you agree with that? Good move for Bellator?
I mean, where else could he have gone? It's not like he was going to go straight to Risen or anything like that, right? Or World Series of Fighting or anywhere else. I mean, Bellator is the most high-profile, second fiddle to the UFC. So, I mean, it made sense for him to go there. I definitely think it had everything to do with the drug testing. I mean, the UFC probably saw his failed test, and they were like, yeah, come on, man. Like, seriously, like, you knew you were going to get tested, so come on, you couldn't stay clean for this much. And, they already had they just had the fallout of John Jones and, what's his name, Brock Lesnar, and Frank Mir. And they're just basically losing too many guys to this drug testing thing. So I think they probably were like, look, Chael, we don't want to touch you with a 10-foot pole because, you might get other people, testing hot as well. So, but honestly, I mean, I've seen a lot of people out there drumming the line for Vanderlei versus Chael. Yeah. And I mean, it's like, I think it'd be better if they just put Chael as like, kind of like a GM or something, or just basically a guy that drums up, that what everybody wanted him to be before. They wanted him to be the UFC president that would go out there and say like whatever craziness, because we all imagine if he was the head of the UFC, he would come out there at the press conference and be like, "Hey guys, we sold out. Shut the hell up. We're the best, blah, blah, blah," and just talk a bunch of crap and, just drum up a bunch of interest for the next, fight and everything. I mean, you think about it. Every time they put a camera on that guy, he's promoting something. He has in mind what he's going to, push, I think of when he was on The Ultimate Fighter with John Jones, and, they cut to him and John Jones was, kind of staring him down and saying, he's going to beat him up and everything. And the first thing Chael says is, "Well, I'm not here to talk about our fight. I'm here to talk about these young guys that have a great opportunity." And like he spun it and made you feel like, yeah, John Jones, you're a dick for, talk about yourself. He has a way with words that makes you. So I'd rather see him do things like that than go out there and get punched in the face and, make him retarded. Because I don't think he's got the skills to hang with a lot of the top contenders. But I mean, that Tito fight, I don't know, man, that seems like a waste of time as well. So
yeah, you make a good point. He was on that phone call, whatever. He went from talking about him joining, he started promoting Liam McGreary. Like, he's promoting Liam McGreary on it, which is, look, Liam's a great fighter on his own, but he was promoting him already, right? So it's like he's already almost like taking that role. I would not at all be surprised if one day Scott Coker gets shown the door and here comes Chael P. Sonnen to fucking take on Dana White head to head. That would be some of the best like shit talk I think ever. I don't know how good he would do. But it would be entertaining as fuck for me, to be honest with you.
Hey,
and
I have a question for you though. how bad do you think all the fighters feel right now that have gone from the UFC to Bellator thinking that the grass is greener on the other side? Do you think that they're happy with what they're doing over there?
Wait, the guys that went from UFC to Bellator or the other way?
What the fuck? I think
from UFC to Bellator.
Pigs and shit.
Everyone
so?
except for Benson. Everyone except for Benson. Benson's kind of not happy about his contract because his contract was kind of based on him being the champion, and he's not. So
right, and then you got Mitrione that got knocked out just recently, right?
And then he fought like fucking 5 days later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you've got again, like you just look at all the guys that are over there. I mean, only the super huge name guys like Tito. Tito's the only one that's kind of gotten away with, being in Bellator and not seeming like he lost a lot from, joining Bellator. I mean, look at Randy Couture. He did a show and then he kind of disappeared off the map.
That was an awful show, by the way.
Exactly. Look at Rampage. Rampage was at Bellator and then tried to run back to the UFC. So, I mean, in my opinion, I think, and Mitrione's still drumming, oh, no, just come over to Bellator. It's the best, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, man. I think it's more insincere than anything. I think he's just trying to convince himself that he made the right choice. And I think he's trying to convince other people that he's made the right choice other than, really, being truthful and saying, like, this really sucks. I mean, he was supposed to be a commentator for the kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to do kickboxing. He hasn't done any of that stuff. So I mean, I think a lot of those people are in for a rude awakening when they find out that their paycheck is going to get cut because they're not up to snuff.
Now, here's the thing too. A lot of the argument has been, oh, well, if you go to Bellator, you can make up for not getting paid UFC money with the sponsors. Joe Warren is a co-main event this last card they had, and he had very few sponsors, but he had nothing big, right? He didn't get that much money out of sponsors. So I mean, how long is that argument going to be? Now the other side of that is, who the fuck wants to watch Joe Warren fight? You know what I mean?
I do.
Listen.
The baddest man on earth? Come on.
I don't care about Joe Warren.
Do you think that any of those pricks that signed Bellator contracts for less money than what the UFC was offering them?
Yes.
Some of them.
They were counting on sponsors. I think there were some of them were probably counting on sponsors though.
I think Benson signed for less, and he thought, oh, okay, I'm going to just go over there, take a belt, and then I'm going to get paid a lot more money. And then he failed, and then he barely won his last fight. Barely.
I think those guys are getting paid pretty handsomely to be there. I think they're getting overpaid, quite frankly, to be there. I don't think they're that stupid. I don't think Benson's that stupid, man. I think there's some guaranteed money that he knew he was getting, or he was stuck with the fucking UFC.
Yeah. Now Benson's not stupid, but he will bet on himself. He's very good at. He will bet on himself. So I can see him taking a contract like that.
Do you think that Benson Henderson does not have a goddamn manager in place? These fighters have managers, okay? Their managers are not morons. Their manager would not be like, okay, Benson, let's just take a shot, and if you don't win the championship, we'll just be asshole ripped. Those dudes are getting overpaid.
I've met a couple managers that are kind of that shitty, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I'll bet
Mitrione doesn't have a manager. Remember he fired Melky on television after he.
Oh yeah, that was look here.
He won.
Listen, he got Mike time.
Yeah,
Matt Mitrione is a unique character.
Yeah,
I got something for y'all though. This going forward, like Fred was saying, it kind of is the changing of the guard a little bit. It's kind of Chael changing it up. That he's pretty much the biggest guy that's made that switch. But what do you guys think about a potential Nick Diaz, who's good friends with Scott Coker, making that move to Bellator? I mean, you still got to pay a big fine, but is Diaz potentially a guy, or who do you guys think is a potential big sign that will probably be bigger than Chael? I mean, Chael's pretty big, but Chael's 39 years old who hasn't fought in a month of Sundays. Factor that in as well.
I'll say this: it won't be Nick. It will not be Nick. Nick just signed another contract with the UFC. Recently, and he's still a pretty big draw. I mean, he really is. So I don't think he's going to leave the UFC anytime soon. I think maybe in a couple fights, 2-3 fights or so, he'll go over there and fight for Bellator if he really feels like continuing. But I kind of agree with Jesse. I could see a Robbie Lawler type to go. I think the UFC has used Robbie Lawler up to as much as he could. You know what I mean? that guy's taking so much damage. It took one hit from T Wood to knock him out. Mind you, T Wood is a hard hitter, right?
Yeah.
But we used to think Lawler was like, other than the Nick Diaz fight, you couldn't knock Lawler out, or that he would at least survive and keep going. Wasn't able to this time.
I think the UFC's problem will be it won't be one guy one time.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? They're not going to let Conor go or Ronda go. Their problem will be a slow deterioration, okay? Rory McDonald, that doesn't ruin the company. Fuck you, Rory. No biggie. Benson Henderson, you get cute. Deuces. Chael P, you cheating motherfucker. 86 you. But if you keep doing that, over time, you're going to turn around and Bellator is going to low-key have a roster. And then it's going to be like, fuck. Now all we got is Conor and a few other fucking stars. So I don't think it's – and listen, Scott Coker and those cats know that shit. They're good at this shit. This is what they do, kind of. You know what I'm saying? That's why Bellator put Scott over there. They are good at slowly building talent and then scraping up the rest of what's floating around. And quite frankly, making some decent shit with some not so decent shit, man. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to go after one guy. They're just going to wait. And right now, Bellator's sitting pretty. The UFC's constantly got disgruntled guys and girls. Everybody's bitching and complaining. You got Ally and Quinta on the nose of the show shooting his fucking New York mouth off. Everybody's always complaining. It's this, it's that. All Bellator's got to do is sit fucking back and wait for the fucking chips to fall and just start putting out that money.
I'll say this.
That's true, but I mean, look at some of those guys that have gotten over. I mean, I kind of think that Benson bet on himself and overestimated himself. I mean, he went straight to a title shot where he got destroyed.
Hey, Jesse,
and I mean,
where the fuck is Phil Davis?
Oh, he's waiting for a title shot, right?
How long has he been waiting?
Forever. He ain't gonna get a title shot.
That's exactly my point, though. A lot of these guys don't get fights. People in Bellator complain all the time. And UFC is, you're not paying me enough. And Bellator is, I don't get to fight for a year.
Will Brooks
left for that reason.
And I'll tell you what, though, the prediction of the Chael Ortiz fight happens. Y'all recall the Tito Ortiz and Bonner? It's going to be a rehash of that shit. And it could be even worse than that, potentially. So that's my prediction here this far out.
About that, like, look, we've had what's his name? Will Brooks come from Bellator to the UFC, right? He's happy. He's getting paid. He's under the Reebok deal. I mean, he's not. I mean, you don't hear him going on, some show complaining about how, oh, Reebok's screwing me over, all this contract. I mean, he's doing what he wanted to do. I mean, if you want to fight for the UFC and test yourself, you're going to be there. Look at Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez wanted to come to the UFC.
Let Will Brooks lose a couple fights, and I'll bet his tune changed.
Oh, yeah, real fast.
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, at least he fought in the organization that he wanted to fight in. And he's fighting as often as he wants to fight, and he's going to get the push that he wanted. I mean, look at Eddie Alvarez. Eddie Alvarez, in my opinion, I thought that maybe he was past his prime when he came into the UFC. And then he kind of slowly built his way up into that title contention, and then bam, he's a champ now. So, I mean, I think people don't realize a lot of the fighters think that they're going to make a lot of money over there with Bellator, and maybe they might. They might, but I think they're not going to be as happy in the long run going over there to Bellator. And then where are they going to go from there? Going to take them back, no matter what they do. Right. So, I mean, I think they're going to be stuck in hell, either going to, World Series of Fighting or, Risen or one of those Asian promotions, one championship or whatever.
Listen, the UFC Bellator thing is simple, though, man. It's, do you want to be a small fish in a big pond, or do you want to be a big fish in a small pond?
That's their choice. It's basically what they're picking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but then look at Benson. He still got wrecked being a big fish in a little pond.
And there you go, right? So he sure as shit don't need to be swimming in the ocean no more.
This guy. All right.
And I heard he was injured going into that fight too, though.
He was definitely. Yeah.
So, he was. But I mean, his last fight still wasn't a good performance either.
Oh no, it was bad. He only won because the other guy got hurt. So it was T-Wood all over again. All right, let's And actually, I think he gets the title shot, doesn't he? Doesn't he get a title shot? Yeah, so
he does.
All right, let's move on here because we're over an hour. We got to wrap up a couple of things. We definitely have to talk about Cyborg. Chris Cyborg fights this weekend. She had a week to cut. What was it? 24 pounds. She's currently reportedly, I guess the word would be, 15 pounds over with 2 days to go. She weighs in on Friday, right? Has to make weight, 140 pounds, 15 pounds, and she's only cut about 9 from the original 24 pounds. I mean, Fred, we talk about this all the time, man. These weight cuts are insane, and hers looks nearly impossible. I mean, if you look at that number and everyone was talking about it, before she started cutting when she started cutting the 24 pounds, that's 15% of her body weight. That is a massive health risk. You could die doing that shit, right? So, what do you think about all this shit with Chris Cyborg?
Listen, man, I know you're probably going to hate this, Eddie, but I'm going to agree with the nose on this one, man. Ariel's fucking. Listen, man, fuck it. Either let the fucking broad fight at 145 or just let her go. You know what I mean? Either fucking love her or let her go, man. Build the division around her. Make her the new Ronda Rousey of 145 or just be done with it. What the fuck is the goddamn motherfucking point of her fighting some fucking broad that none of us have heard of at a fucking weight division that fucking does not exist for absolutely fucking no chips? If she comes out and fucking thunder strikes this hoe with one kick upside her dome piece and knocks her unconscious, guess how much any of us are impressed?
0.
No, I mean, this is literally a no-win for her at a weight division that does not exist.
And she's killing herself to make it.
Yeah. Exactly. She's not going to make 35. No. That's not a thing. So why even try to get close at 140? Fuck it. Just book the fight at 45. You know, or fucking just say fuck it and be done with Cyborg, man, and let her go back to Invicta. Quite frankly, I'm kind of tired of talking about it, man.
Me too.
Either give her the reason that she's in the UFC is to fight a fucking name, right? If we wanted to watch Cyborg fight fucking people we've never heard of, we would have kept her in goddamn Invicta.
Whoa. Leslie Smith is not nobody we haven't heard of.
Oh, man, suck my dick. Leslie Smith is a goddamn gimme. What the fuck? Bullshit. She's supposed to be fighting fucking Sarah McMahon or goddamn it, Kat Zingano. Rustle up fucking some fucking body, some kind of name, man. This is just ridiculous and pointless.
You would think
it really
is. Think that the UFC, Dana White, somebody would have been like, hey, look, top 5 and 35. We'll offer you this boatload of money to fight Cyborg. Right? Kat Zingano, we'll offer you this boatload of money to fight Cyborg on a big pay-per-view where you're all going to get paid pretty good.
I don't even think it would take a boatload of money.
I don't think so either. But still, like you would think they would do something. They would do something. Just something, right? Anything to get him in there, get a legit name in there with her, including Ronda Rousey, who, by the way, if Dana White wants to come out and bullshit saying she's going to fight before the end of the year, highly doubt it. But if she, fucking, is like Ronda's going to come back at 207 and fight Nunez? No.
Yeah, right.
Before I fucking shut my mouth, can I just say that I want to fucking start the fucking train of thought that maybe Cyborg is being fucking protected?
Maybe.
All the time they say, "Ooh, Ronda Rousey's being protected. Ronda's being protected." Who the fuck has Cyborg fought? And why the fuck is she fighting this nobody?
Yeah.
Is she being protected?
Look,
is somebody worried that she's going to get exposed because she can't wrestle? I mean,
right.
Who the fuck has she fought? For Christ's sakes.
Right, and the argument that people use is one or the other. One, either she's being protected from the killers like Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey, even Misha Tate, or she's just killing chicks so badly that she's just so. Some people, I think I was talking to somebody today on Twitter. It was like that she's so good that she makes all these other chicks look that bad, or look normal, mortal, whatever. You know what I mean? But honestly, I've been saying it before, and I think I was sticking with my pick. If we had Ronda Rousey versus Chris Cyborg, I think I'd pick Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean?
Either way, Ronda was killing hoes in 13 seconds.
Yep.
It's not that fucking Cyborg is so good that we can't even jeopardize matching a top contender against her. That's fucking silly talk. Misha Tate will at least put up a good scrap. I know that for a fact. She'll at least get snubbed.
And she'll take her down.
Or something.
She will take Cyborg down.
She's fucking scrappy, dog. It wouldn't just be a fucking murder scene like this is going to be.
Right. And so, who fucking knows if this shit goes on? What's up?
No. So back to the original thing about this whole weight cut thing.
Right.
I have it under good authority
Here we go.
that this whole weight cut thing is bullshit.
Yeah, that's that thing. You know, I was gonna bring that up too and ask you about.
I'll tell you this. Do you know that video that you had of her crying and everything on the floor where she's like dying and blah blah blah?
Yeah, it looked fake as fuck to me, but I didn't say anything then.
It was.
Ah!
It wasn't in the sense that
I wonder why.
Cyborg is a unique person, and you know, I really I take to heart when people present me someone that I trust presents me a person in a different light, and how they know this person and how they have interacted with this person, and if you're in my circle, I trust what you're telling me. You understand? Mm-hmm. So if someone is telling me that this person is a great person, a wonderful person, a very nice person, but they have their crazy moments of not listening to what their coaches are telling them, not, or investigating something overly. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the latest video of her getting in a fight with George Lockhart over the pills that he had her taking, which makes sense to control her monthly period or whatever, so they have that under control and they know when it's going to start, when it's going to end, how heavy it's going to be and everything. When it's controlled, they can actually, prepare for it. But when she's just not doing that stuff, then it's just, they have to scramble to try to get her down in weight. The other thing is that when, a story I heard is that George Lockhart gave her, a meal plan and everything, and she went to another doctor nutritionist and basically showed them everything that George Lockhart was doing, and then that doctor, of course, doesn't know anything about her body, what she's doing, and said, "Oh no, you can't do this because of this, this, and this." And so she calls George, screaming at him that he doesn't know what he's doing, blah blah blah, and you don't get to be a great fighter without being crazy.
You know what? Me thinks that Cyborg is a little stupid.
It's not that. It's just that she's so fearful of losing the strength of her body mass, not being able to perform up to her potential and all that stuff, that she gets neurotic. She gets neurotic and she starts hammering over, half a pound, all this stuff. When if she trusts her coaches around her fully, look at BJ Penn and that whole fallout with Dolch.
Yeah.
Dolch said he brought training partners, he brought food and all this stuff, and BJ Penn was like, "Oh no, he didn't do nothing. He wanted to do this and this and this." And it's like, okay, so every other fighter that hasn't had a problem with Mike Dolch, and you're the first guy to say that, he didn't bring you food, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. I think the problem is you. And it's not your nutritionist that you hired. Right. And I think that's where we're at right now. I think Cyborg is just overreacting to having to cut, a little bit more than usual. And, it's a struggle for her, obviously, because she's a big chick. But I think, if she just, just gets herself, in that headspace of just doing it and trucking forward. I mean, George Lockhart has said that he can get her down to 35 easily. She just has to make the changes, and she doesn't want to. She's a creature of habit, which we all are. Making changes is hard, and I think this is what we're seeing right now is her, them trying to implement a change in her to make her better, and her basically freaking out and not wanting to make that change.
Definitely.
I'll tell you what, she better fucking change something, or I'm gonna be changing the channel.
Yeah, exactly.
Watching her
look, Fred, I agree with you. They just need to make that 145-pound division and just have her reign over that division like a freaking, tyrant, and then just throw chicks at her and see eventually who's gonna beat her. I mean, it'd be great. I mean, we have Mighty Mouse, they brought in champions from every single organization out there to try and beat this guy. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome to see all these different chicks go on, on a reality show, or even just a bunch of them join the UFC, just wanting to be the first chick to put that loss in Cyborg's column in a while. And by the way, she has fought a good wrestler, jiu-jitsu practitioner in Marlies Kunin twice, and she beat her twice.
No, that's where that gets interesting. Minnie and Max says Lena Landsberg ain't no can. She has a similar style to Jarena Barrs, the last person to beat Cyborg, albeit that wasn't a kickboxing match.
But she's undersized.
Maybe. But
she is undersized. She usually fights 35.
Right, but Cyborg is also, a sloppy ass and coming at you like a psycho puncher. But and Lena Landsberg's legit Muay Thai champ. She's very, very accurate, very quick. We'll find out. Look, we're all gonna watch the fight anyway, so it doesn't matter. But at the same time, she's not taking on a can. You know what I mean? She's not taking on fucking Shayna Baszler or anything crazy. So
well, she's cutting half her body away. I mean, a little bit of Cyborg dies with these big cuts. You know what I mean? So you guys are talking about that. They're sort of protecting her, but if this Landsberg chick shows up, I mean, she's killing herself to showcase against a no-name. I hope Landsberg does show up.
Listen, that's the thing. You just said it. I don't give a fuck if that broad has won every Muay Thai championship under the fucking sun and won on the moon.
Right.
Nobody knows who the fuck she is, so it doesn't really matter. If she wins, that's terrible for everybody involved.
All right, let's finish off here with Sage Northcutt and Mickey Gall talking shit back and forth. You can't say that Northcutt's talking shit, but Mickey Gall, saying that Northcutt's corny and shit like that, talking about I'm gonna punch the spikes out of his hair, and then Northcutt, being Northcutt, comes back and says, "Well, we have him. Me and Mr. Gall have similar hairstyles. I just use gel on mine. Maybe he should use gel on his. Maybe after the fight we'll be friends." Like some shit like that. Like, yeah, that's how he should talk. It's fucking funny. What up? Go ahead, Fred.
I gotta say, Sage Northcutt's growing on me. Mr. Helwani, I fucking literally LOL'd when he said that shit. This fucking kid is cute. I gotta hand it to him.
Dude, I can't tell if it's an actor or not. I can't tell.
I don't know, Mr. Oh, nah, man. He ain't fucking Brad Pitt. That ain't no act. It ain't like he gets off the phone and starts hitting blacks and fucking broads and shit and cursing. A little freak, man. He's like a legit throwback. I bet you he's going to vote for Trump. You know what I'm saying? He's that type of a little kid. What the fuck?
Yeah. He's going to write Mr. Trump on that shit, too.
And y'all heard earlier today, or there were some tweets about Mike Jackson as a CM Punk, something like that. So to add to the little Mickey Gall, Sage Northcutt ordeal, you know what I mean? There's possibly a Mike Jackson CM Punk fight that could possibly happen.
Oh, people were shit talking Mike Jackson on Twitter. They were like, "Oh, we wouldn't want to see you fight ever again." And I'm like, "Dude, fucking make it happen. Who cares? What are you gonna do? You're gonna make a circus fight, make it good."
You know what? If anybody's watching this, can I fight CM Punk, please? Listen, let me fight CM Punk. I swear to Christ, I'll do better than that fucking yoga instructor did against Mickey Gall. I tell you what, matter of fact, I'll kick CM Punk's fucking ass. You can sign me up in Dayton, Ohio, Vision MMA, fucking February 2017. I'll beat the fucking shit out of CM Punk. Better.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I hope someone contacts you for that shit.
I swear to Christ, they contact me, I'm fucking in. I will fight that fucking dude tomorrow for 10 grand.
I got Kirby
fucking
in that
one.
Yeah.
Bet you I show up for 10 and 10.
I got Kirby in that fucking fight for sure.
There you go. All right. Real quick, Mike George says, Mike George says all three of Gall's that's how you sell tickets. He says all three of Gall's pro fight opponents are 0-1. So that's something. Look, I don't think Gall's anything special at all. He just beat some old guy that's been training for a year or two. So
yeah, like I said last week.
Listen, he looked good against him, right? I mean, he steamrolled him. It's still hard to tell how good Mickey Gall may or may not be. There's really no way to know. He could be really good. I mean, he steamrolled him, but then he could just suck, right? So
yeah, I mean that's kind of where we're at with that. All right. Anything else we need to talk about? And no one really cares about Gustafsson and Lil Nog. That's kind of a stupid fight.
Fuck that fight, yeah.
It doesn't make sense. All right. Well, it's going to go for us tonight.
Listen.
What up? Well, go ahead.
So listen, let's just get this thing going.
Go ahead.
I want CM Punk. I'm the one guy. Listen, CM Punk, you can probably kick my ass for sure, okay? We'll build me up. We'll do some fucking Muay Thai shit with some training shit. We'll build me up. You could probably kick my ass. You can take this fight. Come on. Give me a break. Throw me a bone.
All right. Everyone that's watching this right now, tweet Dana White. Tell him that we have a legit fucking matchup for CM Punk. Fred Kirby against CM Punk in Dayton, Ohio. Make it happen. Fuck it. Why not?
Let's make
it happen. Let's make it happen. All right. Send it out on Twitter. Send him a link to this video. Fuck it. Let's just go balls out on this. I'm fucking down to see this shit for sure.
Where you at, motherfucker? Where you at?
He's scared. All right. With that, we're going to end the show. That was too perfect. So you can follow Jesse at Swat1983. You can follow Dave at Dave's MMA Brief. And, of course, the one and only Fred Kirby at Kirby_MMA. Make sure you tag him in that shit when you send it to Dana, because that will be fucking legit. Yeah, it's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks for joining on and watching, listening, everybody. Shout out to Mike Jarves, Jody, Minnie and Mac, Andrew Reed, everyone else tunes in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.